What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Pete Freezy Bowling Channel. I'm Pete here, and today we're going to be bringing you another bowling ball battle, taking two of SPI's biggest, strongest hybrid bowling balls and stacking them up against each other. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, hit the sub button, hit the notification bell, and let's stack up two of the strongest hybrid bowling balls in the SPI brand. Let's get it. All right, guys, so like I said in the intro, we're going to be stacking up two SPI hybrid bowling balls in today's bowling ball battle. We're going to be stacking up the very brand new Storm, the brand new Absolute, and we're going to be stacking up that guy with Roto Grip's big asym hybrid bowling ball in the Roto Grip RST-X3. All right, so let's get into the tech of the bowling balls here. All right, guys, so getting into the tech of the two bowling balls here. Starting with the X3, the slightly older of the two balls. We got that Microtrax hybrid cover stock, and then with the core of the ball, we've got the old-fashioned RST core. The RST core featuring a RG of 2.53 and then a differential of 0.053. So that's a relatively strong core, pretty early rolling, pretty high flare potential. And comparing that with the brand new Absolute, the Absolute features that brand new Sentinel core, the low density core as Storm describes it, a slightly stronger core, a RG in 2.48, so that's a really strong, really early rolling core, and then a slightly lower differential in 0.050, so that's an even higher flaring flare potential found in the core of the Absolute. And then the cover stock, we got that that new cover we talked about here, stateside, that R2S Deep Hybrid. So again, we both have asymmetric hybrid bowling balls, but we've got that slightly stronger core that's in the Absolute versus the X3. So again, they're both pretty strong cores, but with those lower numbers in the Absolute, I'm going to expect that ball to get into an early roll, start to rev up really early compared to the X3. And then the differences with the cover stocks there, we've got, again, that Microtrax hybrid versus the R2S Deep Hybrid. A lot of us have been talking about it already. That Deep Hybrid is a lot cleaner and a lot weaker than a lot of covers out there, so I'm expecting that to be significantly weaker than the Microtrax cover, obviously. Again, we've seen the solid versions of the Microtrax and the Gem, and we saw the other hybrid version and the original RST-X1, so that's a relatively much stronger cover, more than likely, than the Deep Hybrid. So I'm going to be stacking these guys up over a Brock's Bowl. I don't think it's quite a fresh shot. It's slightly transitioned. It seems like it has a little bit of carry down to it. How do I think these guys are going to stack up with each other? I think they're actually going to be a lot more similar than, for me anyway. I think they're going to have relatively similar looks. Now, even though the core is slightly stronger in the Absolute, because we've still got the relatively strong core in the X3 plus the stronger cover, I'm going to expect that ball to get off the spot a little bit harder and make a much more harder and quicker turn than the Absolute. I'm going to start pretty far right like I normally do, around that 10 area, a little outside of 10. And then I'm going to throw a couple shots from each zone. I'm going to transition into about the 15 area, 13, 14, 15. And then I'll throw some shots there, and then we'll get into right around 20 or so. I do think I'm going to see some pretty similar looks with these balls, being that we're not on a quite transition shot, at least transition enough where there's enough burn. I think both these balls are going to rev up pretty early, but I think they're kind of going to struggle a little bit to get through the spot at times, especially with the Absolute, because again, for me, for what I've seen lately with it, that really weak cover really likes to kind of push and blow through the spot at times. I like to throw the ball a little bit harder. I don't have a ton of hand in the ball, so I've been kind of seeing the Absolute fitting in more of a really burn, really transition piece so far for me. I gotta be really speed sensitive with it, really kind of try to knock my speed down when I throw it. As we're gonna see here in the video, I'm gonna try to be really soft with both of these balls to see what they do. But I'm gonna expect the X3 to come off the spot a little bit harder, have a little bit more pull through the pins, a little bit more continuation, and I'm gonna expect the Absolute to just be a little bit more controlled, a little bit more forward off the spot, being it has that weaker cover. It's just gonna look a little bit better from straighter for me, I think, and it's gonna control the pocket pretty well for the most part. So again, we're gonna take it up to the lanes and let's see how these two stack up in the asym hybrid bowling ball battle. Let's get it. Alright guys, so that was our first group of shots there from, like I said, about that 10-ish area, just a tad outside of the track. Kind of what I predicted and what I originally thought. I thought both bowling balls actually looked relatively similar, although again, I think with that stronger cover in the X3, it definitely wanted to get off line a little bit harder and a little bit quicker compared to the Absolute. The Absolute just kind of really wanted to push through the spot. It looked really controlled though. It looked really good from that straighter angle. You saw that one shot when I sent the head pin flying, and it looked good if I missed in. It didn't jump off line. It controlled the pocket pretty well. So yeah, Absolute looked pretty good from straight. And again, the X3 looked similar, but definitely with that stronger cover, got off line a little bit harder, pulled through the pins a little bit harder. And so again, yeah, I think relatively similar looks so far. We're gonna jump in now to another zone. I'm gonna jump into about 15-ish. Some of my shots might be a little bit outside of 15, but we're gonna try that other zone. I'm gonna try to soften my speed up and then see what the balls do. guys, that was our final look and zone there with the new Storm Absolute and the Roto Grip RST-X3. And I think that pretty much summed up the differences in the two bowling balls for me. So hopefully you guys kind of saw that too and agreed with it. The X3, again, that much stronger cover combination, definitely benefited a lot more from being that far left compared to the Absolute. The Absolute, it could get there, but I really couldn't afford to miss right with it. You saw when I left that 2-4-8-10 combo, I just got it a little right, and just that weaker cover for me just never really seemed to get the ball to come back left off the pattern. Whereas the X3, you saw one shot where I kind of grabbed it a little too much, and the ball kind of bailed because of that, but it still got back to the pocket. It left me a routine 10 pin that I could have made. But when I did throw it good, it carried well for the most part. It went through the pins really well. It really liked to pull and go left off the pattern. So, guys, that was our bowling ball battle between the Roto Grip RST-X3 and the Storm Absolute. Could I see having both of these guys in my bag? Depending on the situation, yes. I feel like they're similar enough to where I could probably pick one or the other. I wouldn't need the other one. And for me, I would probably at the moment lean towards the X3. That stronger cover for me just benefits me and my game a lot better. I can be a lot more aggressive with the ball, and I can use it in a lot more different situations. Whereas the Absolute, I'm not saying it's a bad ball by any means, but at least for me and my game, it's going to be a lot more situational for me. I'm going to need high amounts of friction. I'm going to need still a heavier, longer enough pattern, because it's still that earlier rolling core. That way the core doesn't completely become too over-under for me. But again, I'm going to need some friction down lane to be able to get the ball to come off the pattern properly. I do have some tournaments coming up where I do think the Absolute can benefit me as I get into like some burn blocks. So it's definitely going to come with me still then. Now, again, if we're talking about like your average bowler, your typical bowler, you only have like 3, 4, maybe 5 balls in your bag, I probably wouldn't warrant having both in the bag at the same time, depending on the type of bowler you are. But if you're a tournament bowler, if you got the needs for it and you want to have both, I can see it, because they are different enough. That Absolute is just a little bit more of a control piece while still being a transition piece, where the X3, that definitely tends to want to seem to get offline a little bit harder and a little bit earlier than the Absolute. So similar enough depending on who you are. You could warrant both, but also different enough to where it kind of goes the opposite way. You could either have both, or I really wouldn't recommend both, just warranting the looks you want, the motions you want, and just kind of what gaps you need to fill in your bag. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in. I wish I got this video out for you guys a little bit sooner. I've been grinding a lot between my personal life and work and whatnot, so trying to fit in as much content for you guys as I can. So I'm glad I was able to get this video out for you eventually. You guys saw, some of you guys have seen my some of my shorts or my reels or whatever. I just added the brand new 900 Global Eternity. Hopefully sometime this week I'll get a review out for you guys with that ball, so stay tuned for that. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button, the sub button, the notification bell. Hit the comments if you like the video, if you guys want to see anything else, any other comparisons or challenges or anything like that, you guys. I'll do my best to try to get some more content out for you guys. And as always, guys, Pete Freezy here. Peace.